Good morning. It is Friday, I believe it's the 22nd of, let me see. No, yes, it is. Friday, February the 22nd, and welcome to The Drill. Okay. Thank you very much. Anyways, I was I got had there. Anyways, this is Ron, your host, the only true conservative in the United States of America today, because I'm the only one that makes a presumption for the status quo, and not because because of where I stand on the quote unquote issues. I was in a rush here to get this recorded because Glenn Beck was interviewing Bernie Sanders on his show live, and I wanted to get a recording of it. And then I just realized, okay, because at the very end of this, just a couple of seconds ago, Bernie, this guy, apparently he's an actor that's pretending to be Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders says, because I haven't had sex since 1973. And I thought, oh, okay, well, there we go. It's just, it's a gag. It's a joke. Okay, funny, haha. But anyway, so one of the things that I was going to say about it was, even with a parody, it's kind of dicey situation. But because a lot of conservatives may want to interview or have debates with lefties. Sean Hannity does this all the time, where it's called a shootout. The last hour of his program, he has his little shootout where he gets some liberal on the show, and then he also gets another one or two other conservatives on the show, and they have like a debate about a particular type of subject. And the only good that does is to help promote the liberal and the liberal's point of view. So it's not something that I would recommend doing. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't do it. If you want to, the whole idea here is, if you're going to be a conservative and not an anti-liberal, then you want to promote values, make should statements, and whatnot. So, don't bother to interview Bernie Sanders. And then Glenn Beck would start asking him some questions, and but this, but that. And Bernie Sanders was, dealing with the arguing back or whatever. And a lot of things he was saying was like ridiculous. He says, and that's when I started thinking maybe this is a put on. And then when he talked about not having sex since 1973, then I realized it was an actor pretending to be Bernie Sanders, not Bernie Sanders himself. But anyways, don't promote. The number one deal, if you want to know what to do, is don't promote the left. Don't spread the poison. Don't spread the disease. And don't promote the left and spend as little time listening to them or arguing with them as you possibly can. Now, there's going to be times when you're going to get pigeonholed by somebody on the left. At work, for instance, you might be in the break room and Mr. or Ms. Lefty walks in and starts provoking you. Hey, you didn't vote for Trump, are you? Hey, there's the Trump voter. Or whatever. Oh, Mr. Conservative. Oh, hey, what do you think about what happened in New York? Isn't it fabulous? That kind of thing. They're going to try screwing with you, baiting you. They want to see you throw a temper tantrum so they can run to human resources and get you in trouble, that kind of thing. So you do need to know how to deal with that. And usually the best way to deal with it is ask them questions. Oh, isn't it, did you hear about what happened in New York? Well, as a matter of fact, no. What happened in New York? Oh, they just made abortion on demand available. Isn't that a wonderful thing? I said, I really hadn't thought about it. Is it wonderful? And if so, why? That's the best way to deal with it. Put them off as long as you possibly can by using questions. Usually in short order, it's going to shut them up because most of the people on the left are just nothing more than useful idiots. So you shut them up, and then you can get out of the break room and get back to work. If you're going to work on anybody, if you're going to promote or proselytize, so to speak, the people that you really need to work on are the rhinos. And I think I may have said this yesterday, but and if I didn't, I'll say it again now. Or if I did, I'll say it again now. And if not, I'll say it for the first time. The biggest defeat, recent defeat for the Democrats was not Hillary Clinton's loss to Donald Trump in the 2016 elections, but the death of John McCain. I'll say it again. The biggest defeat for the Democrats was not Hillary Clinton's losing the election, the presidency. It was the death of John McCain. And so the left needs the right. They need the conservatives because those are the people that carry the water for the left. Those are the ones that help them make their arguments. Those are the ones that actually realize the left's dreams. In other words, put those dreams, make those dreams into reality. And that work is done by rhinos, such as John McCain. And those are the people you have to talk to. Those are the people you have to engage in debate. So you want to do something in which you're changing people's minds, that kind of activity, screw the left. Don't even bother with them, okay? Skip them, ignore them, and go find yourself a rhino, okay? If the Republican Party could be solid conservatives all the way, liberalism would be dead in this country. Absolutely dead. The only reason that liberals enjoy any power, any influence in our society whatsoever is thanks to rhinos. So find a rhino, talk to them, and convince them to be conservative. Convince them to do actually one of two things. You can't sit on the fence. There is no middle ground. And that's what a rhino pretends to be, a moderate. There's no such thing as moderate. Okay, there is no moderate position on abortion. There isn't. You're either yes or no on abortion. And everything else is the same way. There is no middle ground. The middle ground is fiction created by the left to encourage conservatives to move to the left, to become liberals. Because when you get right down to it, that's basically what John McCain was. He wasn't a maverick. He wasn't a moderate. He was a liberal Republican. So find a rhino, talk to them, proselytize with them. Hey, find out where their head is at and go after them. If they're, well, I'm okay with abortion or Roe v. Wade because of this, that, and the other thing, and say no. And you got to tell them flat out, make up your mind. Either you're a liberal or you're a conservative. You can't have both ways. And tell them there is no middle ground. There is no moderate. Which are you, a liberal or a conservative? Those are the people you can reach. Those are the people that will that will listen to you. The left isn't going to listen. All they're going to do, the left is going to do, is try to manipulate you. And if they can't, that doesn't work, they're going to try and bully and intimidate you. So you don't need that. So I've got another clip from Liz Wheeler that I'm going to play when I get back. Okay, thank you very much. Welcome back. Liz Wheeler, the final point from the OAN Network.
My final point is a prediction. I have a prediction. The next iteration of the mainstream media narrative on Jussie Smollett faking his own hate crime will be, well, the left will tell us in Trump's America, the story was just so believable. Am I right? By saying this, the mainstream media and the left will thereby blame Trump supporters for a hoax hate crime that had nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with liberals teaching people it pays to be victims. So tonight, I want to walk through a list as a friendly reminder to the media and the left of everybody Jussie Smollett has hurt by faking a hate crime. Remember, this is a man who put a noose around his own neck and lied about it. He accused innocent white people of committing a hate crime against him because of the color of his skin, when he actually committed that crime against himself. So here are the people he hurt. Number one, Jussie Smollett hurt real victims of real hate crimes. Because of Jussie, next time somebody files a police report and claims they were the victim of a hate crime, how many people are going to believe them? Or how many victims are going to hesitate to report hate crimes because they're worried they won't be believed? Thanks to Jussie, because Jussie lied. Number two, Jussie's actions hurt anybody who needed the police in the past 2 weeks, because the police were using resources to track down the truth about this fake attack. 18 people have been murdered in Chicago since Jussie made these false allegations. Yet because of his lies, police were using resources to focus on his case, instead of on something real. Number 3, Jussie hurt himself, his career, and his family, obviously. He committed career suicide, and he's probably going to jail. In my opinion, he 100% should go to jail if he's found guilty of this. Number 4, Jussie hurt the 2 brothers of Nigerian descent who helped him stage this attack. Who knows if they'll be charged? Who knows if they'll be able to find work again in the industry? But we sure as heck know their names and their reputations are shot, since they were willing to take part in this evil hoax, thanks to Jussie. Number 5, Jussie's malicious accusations hurt tens of millions of Trump supporters by falsely accusing them of being racist. And not only racist, which is bad enough, but racist enough to attack him for the color of his skin and sexual orientation. Number 6, Jussie's lies hurt our country. He exploited racial wounds and racial tensions in America, all in an effort to promote his own career. Number 7, Jussie's lies hurt millions of young black kids, young actors, and young gay people who, instead of seeing Jussie's success and thinking, wow, in America, a gay black man can be financially and professionally successful in one of the most competitive and cutthroat industries in the country, maybe I can do that too. Now young people will think, gosh, to be successful, do I need to be a victim? None of this had anything to do with President Trump or Trump supporters or conservatives or Republicans. Jussie is to blame for all of this. And the fact that he made $65,000 per episode on Empire and still thought it would pay him more to be perceived by the media as a victim of a hate crime, well, for that, you can blame the Democrats and their culture of victimhood. They, too, have hurt our country. And that is my final point.
Want to see more videos like
Okay, so I think what I'm going to try here, let's try something a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm going to go ahead and play it again, except this time I'm going to stop every time she says something I want to comment about.
My final point is a prediction. I have a prediction. The next iteration of the mainstream media narrative on Jussie Smollett faking his own hate crime will be, well, the left will tell us, in Trump's America, the story was just so believable. Am I right? By saying this.
So, what did she say? Prediction. First of all, again, Liz Wheeler, conservative, who can't help talking about the left. We got to talk about the left all the time. That's it. That's why I say I think there is. I call them reactionaries. Another way to say it is anti-liberals. Okay, if you're going to spend all your time talking about the left, you're not a conservative. Conservatives, being a conservative means promoting something, promoting values, and that gets me to my next point, which is she makes a prediction. I'm making a prediction. She says it like 3 times. This is what's going to happen. Instead of saying, this is what should happen. Okay, when you use the should statement, you're promoting values. Okay. Now, she also starts saying about how she predicts that it's going to be all the right's fault or Trump's fault in Trump's America. You got to be very careful with this, because what the left likes to do is play a very subtle little game where they will suggest something and hope that you're going to go ahead and fill in the blanks for them and make concrete their imaginary issue. We get into Trump. Why? Why does she mention Trump? Because one of the assailants was wearing a red hat that read, "Make America Great Again." So the conclusion she is drawing is that this is about Trump. Jussie Smollett didn't say so. The assailants, the 2 Nigerians, didn't say so. Nobody on the left has said so. Nobody on the left has used the words Donald Trump. They let the right do that. They let the conservatives carry their water and draw the conclusions that they're baiting them into drawing. Don't take the bait. That's a corollary of don't spread the disease. The corollary to that is don't take the bait. 90 and 99% of the time, that's what the left is trying to do. When they come and they corner you in your break room at work and start to give you the business. They are baiting you. They're hoping that you're going to overreact. Overreaction is a sign of having a guilty conscience. And that's what you display for the world, especially if you're Liz Wheeler, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, who have a national audience. Then you get to display for the entire country your guilty conscience. And the left gets something for free. Rush Limbaugh likes to say, I live in the left's head rent-free. No. They live in your head rent-free. And in the heads of Liz Wheeler, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, et al. Back to the clip.
The mainstream media and the left will thereby blame Trump supporters for a hoax hate crime that had nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with liberals teaching people it pays to be victims. So tonight, I want to walk through a list as a friendly reminder to the media and the left of everybody Jussie Smollett has hurt by faking a hate crime. Remember, this is a...
So I wanted to say there, before she gets into her list, she says about victimhood. Anytime you hear the terminology victimization or victimology or anything to do with being a victim, what the conservative means to say is determinism. From the left thinks that every person on earth has no free will, that we're all victims, ultimately right now, of capitalism, that we're victimized by capitalism, but that we don't do things because we want to do them. We're forced to. Okay, years ago, there was people that would say, who in the right mind would use a product that when used as directed causes disease and death? When they were talking about cigarettes. And what they're doing is setting up a deterministic argument, because their answer to that was nobody in their right mind would do that. And since very few people are actually insane, then the only possibility is that we lack free will and that somehow we are forced to smoke cigarettes. Okay, the same thing applies with car culture. And here, like she said, the victimology thing is really about determinism. And the issue there is, do we or don't we have free will? We do. And we know that by the evidence of our senses. Back to the clip.
Man who put a noose around his own neck and lied about it. He accused innocent white people of committing a hate crime against him because of the color of his skin, when he actually committed that crime against himself. So here are the people he hurt.
So on this one, she's wrong. She's absolutely wrong. He didn't say any of those things. He didn't say any of those things. All of it was implied or inferred, either implied by him or inferred by Liz Wheeler. Okay, this was literally, quite literally, what this happened with Jussie Smollett was political theater. Okay, they staged a scene in which an individual gets beaten by two other individuals and is verbally assaulted as well, apparently called racial and homophobic slurs, called names, and done with a person wearing a red Make America Great Again hat. Okay, so then what they do with that is Jussie doesn't have to make any comments and say, oh, this is about white people, this is about racism. He lets everybody draw their own conclusion. He lets the left pundits from the left and from the right go ahead and draw those conclusions for him, do his work for him. So the best thing you can do is don't let the left get away with something free. If they want to win, make them earn it. And the way to do that is ask questions. Gee, this guy, this happened here. Is this supposed to be a racial issue? Is this supposed to be about Donald Trump? Ask questions about what's going on first. Make the left fill in the blanks. Make Jussie Smollett come out and actually say, hey, this is a racist country and a racist homophobic country, or perhaps his point is that it's only racist and homophobic because of who's in the White House. Make him come out and say that. Make the left make their point. Don't do the work for them. Back to the clip.
Number one, Jussie Smollett hurt real victims of real hate crimes. Because of Jussie, next time somebody files a police report and claims they were the victim of a hate crime, how many people are going to believe them? Or how many victims are going to hesitate to report hate crimes because they're worried they won't be believed? Thanks to Jussie, because Jussie lied. Number two, Jussie's actions hurt anybody who needed the police in the past 2 weeks because the police were using resources to track down the truth about this fake attack. 18 people have been murdered in Chicago since Jussie made these false allegations, yet because of his lies, police were using resources to focus on his case, instead of on something real. Number three, Jussie hurt himself, his career, and his family, obviously. He committed career suicide, and he's probably going to jail. In my opinion, he 100% should go to jail if he's found guilty of this.
Okay, so right there, she gets really close to getting this right. Let me shut this off. Okay. She gets really close to getting this right. She makes a should statement. Whoops.
My final point.
I've lost the...
The next iteration of the mainstream media crimes. Because of Jussie,
just a second.
Next time somebody files a police report and claims they were the victim of a hate crime, how many people are going to believe them?
Just a second.
Or how
Okay, so again, she almost gets this right. She starts to make a should statement. He should go to jail if he's convicted of this. Okay, that would be good, but she qualifies it. She weakens the impact of that statement. She goes from what would be a rhetorically effective statement to a rhetorically ineffective statement by using the qualifier, in my opinion. Okay, that doesn't have the same impact as if you're saying it definitely, certainly as a matter of reality. Okay, and as a matter of reality, he should be held accountable. Whether or not he should go to prison is an issue of justice. If he should be investigated, and if the investigation shows enough evidence to prosecute, he should be prosecuted. And if he is convicted, then you can say he should go to jail. You could say that, he should go to jail. There's no mitigating circumstances here. This isn't something that he was doing as a class project and it went awry. Okay, in which case he would, maybe pay a fine. This is something he set out deliberately to do. He committed fraud. And he should be face a stiff penalty for that. He should go to prison. For how long? I don't know. Leave that up to the judge or the jury, somebody else. But anyways, the point is, when you're going to make a should statement, don't qualify it. So many conservatives screw up a perfectly valid point, water down the potency of their statements by using, in my opinion, as a qualifier. Don't make that mistake.
Jussie hurt the two brothers of Nigerian descent who helped him stage this attack. Who knows if they'll be charged? Who knows if they'll be able to find work again in the industry? But we sure as heck know their names and their reputations are shot since they were willing to take part in this evil hoax, thanks to Jussie. Number 5, Jussie's malicious accusations hurt tens of millions of Trump supporters by falsely accusing them of being racist. And not only racist, which is...
And again, she's wrong. And wrong for the same reason she was wrong before. He didn't accuse anybody of being a racist. He did no such thing. He staged a little political theater and allowed people to draw their own conclusions. If Liz Wheeler draws the conclusion from this political theater that Trump supporters are racist or are suspected of being racist, that speaks volumes more about her and what she thinks of Trump supporters than it does speak of Jussie Smollett. Again, he baited people with this political theater, and so many conservatives have rushed to take the bait. Don't be one of them. When you listen carefully to what it is that the liberals are saying to you. Are they coming right out and calling you a racist? Odds are they're not. They may suggest it. Are they coming out and calling you a hypocrite? Because anytime you want to make ethical statements and say that people should do this or should do that, they'll rush in to try and point out what a hypocrite you are, but they won't call you one to your face. They won't say you're a hypocrite. They'll say something, they'll question you like, well, you say everybody should do X. Didn't I see you doing XYZ the other day? Everybody should stop for stoplights. Didn't I see you run a stoplight the other day? They're suggesting that you're a hypocrite. Best way to deal with that situation is to simply say, no, you didn't. Now we're getting into a situation where you're going to intellectualize the conversation and get it out of the realm of psychology and the psychologistic. And that's the way you can defeat that. Back to the clip.
Bad enough, but racist enough to attack him for the color of his skin and sexual orientation. Number 6, Jussie's lies hurt our country. He exploited racial wounds and racial tensions in America, all in an effort to promote his own career. Number 7.
Again, wrong there too. What this really points up is he did this little political theater stunt, and ironically, what he really pointed up was how far we have come in this country. Look how far we have come in this country. If you're younger than I am, you're not going to remember it, but I'm in my late 50s, and I remember I grew up in the 60s. And I remember that if there was something like this that was reported in the news, that a black man was assaulted by 2 white people. As a matter of fact, you used to see it on the news every day. The activists in the South that were protesting Jim Crow laws were assaulted. Blacks were assaulted by whites on a routine on television. It wasn't on a closed circuit camera, taped. It was live. You used to see this. It wasn't terribly surprising. And it happened again regularly. Look at what we have here. Apparently, racist attacks in this country take place so infrequently that the only way that the left can gin up any outrage is to falsify an attack. That's what Liz Wheeler should have said. Back to the clip.
These lies hurt millions of young black kids, young actors, and young gay people who, instead of seeing Jussie's success and thinking, wow, in America, a gay black man can be financially and professionally successful in one of the most competitive and cutthroat industries in the country, maybe I can do that too. Now young people will think, gosh, to be successful, do I need to be a victim? None of this had anything to do with President Trump or Trump supporters or conservatives or Republicans. Jussie is to blame for all of this. And the fact that he made $65,000 per episode on Empire and still thought it would pay him more to be perceived by the media as a victim of a hate crime, well, for that, you can blame the Democrats and their culture of victimhood. They, too, have hurt our country. And that's it.
So that is what really makes what he did cynical and really, really wrong. It's one thing if you're going to go out and stage political theater because you're trying to do this political theater lie because you're trying to make a socio-political point. That's one thing, but he didn't do that. The evidence suggests that I've heard on through news sources is that he did this for money, strictly for money. He was getting paid $65,000 an episode. He wanted more. So he figured that he was going to go ahead and stage this so that, I don't know, maybe this was going to increase his visibility and thereby make him more valuable to Fox, who's the one that puts on the show Empire, and thereby earn him more money, which, by the way, he is earning more money now. There was a statement on the news that Fox agreed to pay him more, which is even more cynical. But that's where, and that's another point that a thing that it says about what things are about today is the fact that he does this stunt again, not because conditions for young black men, young black gay men are so bad, he has to This is the best way he can find to lash out at the system, to try to get attention to this particular issue. No. He's doing it to make more money. Crass and craven. That's basically what it is. But that's what Liz Wheeler should have said. So she almost got it right a couple of times. But overall, again, this could have been for Liz Wheeler a good time to promote conservative values and talk about what is it Jussie should have done. Well, if Jussie wanted more money, hire a lawyer, hire a new agent, hire a new manager, hire new people, get some public relations folks on your side, write a book, and then, or do it, another way to do it is make a sex tape. Go out and get a girlfriend, make a sex tape, and leak it to the media. That's another way to get attention, to make more money. That would have been better than the way he went about it. But there's all kinds of things that she could have done to promote more values, to talk about what it is he should have done. What is it that the news people that were too eager to jump on Jussie Smollett's bandwagon and talk about how this is terrible and horrible and awful? What should they have done? I think that they should have said something to the effect of, let's wait and see how the investigation goes, find out who the perpetrators are, and then I'll have a statement. Not be so quick to jump on the bandwagon. Although, if you listen to a lot of the politicians and pundits, none of them came right out and said that this is what happens in Donald Trump's America, or this is what happens when you have tens of thousands of Make America Great Again people running loose in the country. They didn't say anything like that. They were very subtle about it. They just said, this racism and homophobia, and it's got to stop kind of thing. More suggesting than anything else. But again, so don't, when you get the opportunity to promote values rather than just doing knee-jerk reactions to what it is the left says, take that opportunity. Promote the values, make should statements. That's the way you can make your value, your promote values. What should happen in any given situation? People will ask you, the left will ask you to make predictions. What do you predict? What do you predict? That's a perfect opportunity to make a value statement. You say, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll tell you what should happen. That's the way you should handle it. And that brings us to the conclusion of another episode of The Drill. And until next time, thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.